Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello. How are we doing? This Tuesday, we got part two. Thank you, everyone, for kicking off the contribution. Thank you, Mark. Said, due to the game being called yesterday on rain delay, we will continue in the same scenario. Score tied, bases loaded, and CC is at bat. Thank you so much. Thank you, Steve, for your contribution. Thank you, Fedrick. At game update, CC has hit a grand slam, score 6-2 against the Haratchetang Hyenas. That is a funny term, Haratchetangs. That's actually hilarious. But thank you so much for everyone contributing early. I appreciate you. Go ahead and like. Go ahead and share. Go ahead and subscribe. If you are watching, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because if you're watching, even if you hate watching, you want to see what I do next. So you might as well hit the subscribe button, because that is about how you're going to find out. Don't forget to hit the bell as well, so you can actually get the notifications when I drop any content or go live. So we are going to continue what we started yesterday, because this is worth going into. This is worth talking from a lot of different perspectives, I would say. Because we have to discuss these engagements, these relationships, the situationships, and we have to basically dissect what we are hearing these women say. And I want to be clear, these aren't the most ratchet women. And when I say that, what I mean by that is the way that they present themselves. These are not women that are presenting themselves as streetwalkers or, just straight up sluts and whores. They're not. That's not the presentation. They're actually presenting themselves as well put together, intelligent, well spoken. But because this is how they're getting into situations where men are even proposing to them in the first place, right? This is how they're even maneuvering into these positions to begin with. They are positioning and presenting themselves as women that you would take a chance on, women that you would try to get into a relationship with, women that you would try to see if they can be wife material. They ultimately are chameleons. They're ultimately chameleons. They are ultimately faking it to a large degree. Now, because we're hearing it from their side, obviously they're not going to say I was faking stuff and that's how we got to a certain point. But what you come to realize is that anytime you got women that are in these relationships that are so toxic and so horrible and so bad in hindsight, and they can tell you about at least 3 or 4 significant relationships that all kind of turned out that same way, she the common denominator. You can be a good woman and get caught up in a ridiculous situation or somebody, or meet a man that's not living up to what you thought he was going to live up to. And then you cut your losses with that. And then good men get caught up with women like that. They get caught up with hyenas and chameleons. Women that they thought would add value to them and things of that nature. He spent some time with her. He invests in her. And it turns out that she's just not what she presented herself to be. It's the same thing on both sides. Thing is, there is a such thing sometimes getting caught up once or twice, maybe. But if you consistently are attracting these same types of people, if you are consistently attracting toxic people, you're a woman that consistently, all of your significant relationships, marriages, or whatever was essentially the same guy with a different face. This is you. If you're a man that consistently attract hyenas to you, and these women are no good, and you can point out several relationships that you've been in, and these women are no good, it's you. It's you. You got to do some self-reflection, figure out what you're doing that's attracting these people. Why are they coming over to you in succession, not a one-off? So we're going to try to start. I'm going to recap a little bit of what we heard yesterday. The first lady was telling her story about how she was in a relationship for about 7 years or so with a man that she had known prior to him going to jail. She had known him for years prior to him running the street, doing whatever he did to land in jail. He served a few years of time. He got out, and all of a sudden he was this man that had all of these wonderful mindsets and things going on for him. So she decided that it would be a good idea, basically, as the moment he got out of jail, to get into a relationship with him. They moved in together. She said they was inseparable from that time period on. She ended up having 2 children by this man, who she eventually said that ended up with a gambling problem, among other issues. Basically, he went back to the street. And, when you listen to what she's saying, that's why I tell people don't get caught up in the storytelling. Because when you listen to what she's talking about, ma'am, because she ends up saying, well, he was able to get her a big ring. How he do that with no skill set? So, ma'am, he had been back in the street. He had been back into the street. That's how he got that ring. The gambling was not overnight. You had accepted the things that he was doing. Why did my chat stop? Did y'all stop typing? Was it me or what? No, my chat completely stopped. Y'all can still hear and see me, right? Oh, okay. Just making sure. So he was gambling, he was doing whatever he was doing in the street. He was still contributing money from that. You were accepting it. You were accepting what he was doing. So we're going to kind of end off her story. And we're going to go into the next portion, because there are a lot of different parts and timestamps that I got here. So let me go ahead. Let me share the screen. And of course, I'm going to put my little screenshot up so that we don't have a fair use issue. And I'm going to start just a little bit back because I want to point out something.
More of a control on him than I realized. And so I feel like he felt me withdrawing and he felt me in that energy. And then it was my birthday and it's just like, boom, let me just seal it in now. And it worked, you know.
Okay, so you said yes, but it's fair to say that you were still unsure.
I definitely had my reservations. I was still under the mindset of like, this isn't, this can be, he can kick it if I can introduce him to a better opportunity.
Right.
Right. If I can make X amount of money and impress him enough to show him that it's brighter over here than what he got going on over there, I still felt like there was hope there. But he's a finesser. There was no hope there, but he was gone.
I'm curious for the ladies, how many women do you think actually tentatively accept the marriage proposals? Like they accept it, but it's really contingent upon a few things.
You know, before he gets to that, and before we let her answer that question, listen, what you say yeah for? If it was about him having all these issues to the point where it's been, she said they got engaged or he proposed to her like 5 or 6 years in. So you hung around another like year or two. You gonna listen. You gotta hear what she's saying. Women, this is how you waste your own time. Y'all be hanging around and hanging with these dudes, and then it's all his fault. But you don't take accountability for not being more vigilant and more careful with your time. I've said it before and I will say it again. Men, whether he's a lion or a hyena, they do not see relationships in terms of time. Men in general do not see relationships. They do not quantify relationships in terms of time. They don't have the biological clock that we have. Time ticks for us whether we want it to or not. They are not looking to, I only got so many fertile years and I can't waste a year. No. They don't see relationships in terms of time. Once they have categorized you as something, you are that thing. Whether it's a good girlfriend that's never going to be a wife or a safety net. If he is a hyena, you're a safety net to take care of him while he mess around and screw up the rest of his life. Whatever the situation is, whether it is good or bad, men do not quantify relationships in terms of time. This is where you get women that be like, dudes be whole time wasters. No, you're a time waster. The reason why I say that is because, listen, let me be clear. There are hyenas that will waste your time. Professional time waster. He looking to waste your time. He'll breadcrumb you. He'll do all this stuff to see if he can keep you hanging around. Right? But since we're the ones that quantify relationships in terms of time, we be like, I've been with you X amount of time, so the relationship should evolve. And when it don't do that, we be confused as to why I have been with you 3, 4, 5 years, sometimes 10 years. And we're still shacking up. We're still playing house. We're still boyfriend and girlfriend. We still just kicking it. We still just trying to see where it's going to go, blah, 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 blah. That is because when he told you, we just gonna kick it and see where it goes, that is the definition of what you are to him. It will never go nowhere. I want people to understand the mindset of the male and female hyena. Okay? That is the definition of the relationship. It's women that think that changes over time and that time alone should make it change. No. A man will come back to the same well of a woman that he only sliding in on at night. He'll do this for as long as she let him do this. He'll do this for years if that's what he do. Do you understand that? He's not lying. He's actually not lying. This is what you are to him. He has zero intent of changing that dynamic. He is not gonna change that dynamic at all, ever. If you try to change the dynamic, it'll be like, nope, I ain't doing it. This is where you get him leaving or get trouble now, because he has no intention of changing this dynamic. If he tell you we're just kicking it to see where it is going, that is the pinnacle of where he's putting you. He has no intention of ever changing that dynamic with you. You always gonna be in the kick it, let's see what we doing phase. That is it. That's all. If you try to change the dynamic by thinking that if you hang around and if you do this and if you do that and you contribute this way and you do this and this way, that he's going to eventually change his mind and change that dynamic to better fit something that you are more comfortable with as a woman, you're barking up the wrong tree. He'll never do it. It's not happening. It's like the chances of that is like 0.00001%. It's not gonna happen. He's not changing his dynamic. That is why a man, when he is on that standing on business, when he is about marriage and looking for you and in that space, he will say that directly, fairly in the beginning of this. It won't be years down the line. He will open up with, looking for a wife, I like you. Okay? And he will begin a courting session. It won't be, we'll see where this goes. He'll begin a courting session with you. Now he wants to get into a more of a depth about what are we going to do? What kind of woman are you? This is what I do. This is when you get a man start explaining his vision, because he wants you to get on this program and he wants you to see, can you get on this program with him? Can you get on board with this vision with him? So then he will open up with that. Exactly, Lou Casey. The courting is the vetting. He'll start a vetting process with you. It's not about, you know what I'm saying, oh, I ain't spending $5 until you give me throat in the car. He's not playing these games. He may have a chick he played them games with. He's not playing these games right now. He's trying to find a wife. He's trying to see if you're going to be his wife. Now he starts a vetting process with you. Now these are now important conversations that he's trying to have with you. He's trying to observe you under different circumstances. He's trying to get a feel for your character. He's trying to get a feel for who you are as a person. What are you really about as a woman? Now he's trying to get there with you. The courting process is fairly fast. How fast is up to y'all organically. But generally speaking, once he has completed his vetting process, it takes no more than a year possibly 2 if there are other circumstances that are preventing the wedding and the marriage. He pretty much knows if you are the best candidate for this marriage. He's going to tell you this. Now, once this happens, you only need to be with this man about a year, year and a half, 2 max. 2 is your maximum time. I tell any woman this, 2 is your maximum time, right? Do not dawdle. If a man is not really about that business, after 2 years, leave. Leave it. Doesn't make him a bad guy, don't make you a bad. He's not going to do this. He's not going to do this. After about 2 to 3 years, he's placeholding with you. You're good enough at this level, but he's not going to make you a wife. He will now be looking for his wife. If he run up on this woman that's going to be his wife, you're gone. Please understand that. Children or no. Doesn't matter if you have a baby. Doesn't matter if y'all move together. That doesn't matter. I would advise you not to get to that point. Do not do this. Do not intertwine your life like that. Okay? Moving together, shacking up, all that. Don't do none of that. Leave that alone. 1 year, 2 max. After 2 years, if it ain't no real conversation really happening, move with traction. We done with it. We done with it. Because you're gonna get pregnant. You're gonna waste your time. You're gonna break your own heart. After about 2 years, he's not doing this with you. He may like you. He may even love you. Right? I'm not saying that all of his feelings and stuff like that was fake and phony. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you aspire somehow to become this man's wife, it don't take him that long. It don't take him that long. Unless he done gave you a real specific time frame. The reason I'm saying like 2 years or whatever is because we are women. We cannot waste our best years with a man that will not marry us. It's not smart for you. He does not quantify the relationship in terms of time. 2 years don't mean nothing to him in terms of the relationship because he's not losing anything. Idealistically, biologically, he's not losing anything. His fertile years are not going anywhere. If anything, he's becoming more valuable over that time. You're losing value. He's gaining it. Be mindful of your own time. Too many women, particularly in their youth, in the prime of their youth, they either spend it hoeing, wasted, or you get into these relationships and you spend too much time with one man with no commitment. Living together and having babies. He ain't put nan ring nowhere. He ain't said nothing before God or man about you being his wife. I don't care about those little nicknames. Oh, she wifey. I don't care about that. That doesn't mean anything. Young women, do not waste your time. When you get older, it get worse. Now you can't even really spend the 2 years. It's like down to 1. It's like down to 6 months to 1 year now. So I want her to go ahead before we do the break. I need y'all to listen to what she's going to say, how she's going to answer this question. I'm going to back it up just a smidge.
Kick it. If I can introduce him to a better opportunity.
Right.
Right. If I can make X amount of money and impress him enough to show him that it's brighter over here than what he got going on over there, I still felt like there was hope there. But he's a finesser. There was no hope there, but he was gone.
I'm curious for the ladies, how many women do you think actually tentatively accept the marriage proposals? Like they accept it, but it's really contingent upon a few things going right.
Okay, so we know 2 out of 3 marriages end in divorce, right? Well, 70% of those marriages are initiated by women. And I think the reason why that's happening is because we as women are taught from childbirth that we are supposed to get married and have a family, I've been engaged 2.5 times, and it's literally because my focus was marriage and a family, not alignment. And I feel like if women were to be more particular and more specific on what made the most sense for them, on what made the most sense as far as feeling safe, feeling secure, feeling loved, feeling respected, feeling appreciated, all of those different things, relationships would look so different. They would look so different. And I think as long as the agenda is pushed, because it's almost like when you're not married and you don't have children, we're looked at as less than. We're not as valuable as humans because we haven't gotten married. How many times have you heard even couples that never plan on having children? First thing they ask is, when are you having babies? Yeah. Actually, we had no plan of having, well, why don't you want to have kids? Kids this, kids that. And I'm not saying, there's a right or a wrong way to do life, but it just goes to show the high level of indoctrination that we have into our own level of value is based on how other people view us as mother and as wife.
Yeah. Now, we're going to stop her. And we're definitely going to cook that. But after these messages, we'll be right back. Because I need every last one of you to go to ashkicking.com. That link is pinned at the top of the chat. If you are looking for the best in body care, specifically their body butter, which I love. If you want to keep your skin looking and feeling its best and smelling so awesome, then you definitely have to pay a visit to ashkicking.com. Look around their website. It's a beautiful website with wonderful quality products. If this is going to be your first order, definitely take advantage of a 10% discount using the promo code Crimson at checkout. Once again, go ahead and click the link at ashkicking.com. There are so many people in the chat room that have already used this product and they swear by it. Listen, I got my own jar body, but I'm still working through the first jar. Let me tell you, this stuff is wonderful. The smell is delightful. It lasts all day. Your moisturization, it lasts, right? It absorbs into the skin really quickly. It doesn't leave a tacky or greasy feeling or anything like that. And for those of you who are sensitive to scents and fragrances, they definitely have an unscented version of their body butter and things of that nature. So definitely, once again, go to ashkicking.com. I don't know how many likes I need, but I know I owe y'all a bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You got to Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Okay, let me get to the super chats. Thank you once again. Frederick says, CC, that's the new GMO 2024 hyena breed. Thank you, Timestamp. Your breakdowns on how men really are is valuable. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ruminants and him. The chances are 0.0001% her, so there's a chance. Right. Thank you, Miss Beshua. I've been there, done that, thought that I was dealing with good men, but I realized that I spent my entire 20s and early 30s with hyenas. After 8 years of self-reflection, met my husband. Thank you so much once again. So I do my best to encourage young women not to make the same mistake I did. As a result, I met my husband later in life and have not been able to have a child. Young women, please take heed. Correction, I have not been able. Yeah, I can feel the pain of that. Miss Beshua, never able to carry a child to term, it affects you as a woman because it is one of our metrics, which leads me into speaking about how she answered that question. Because she went into what I say is a false narrative about women being pressured into marriage. Not nowadays. She could have got away with that in the boomer generation or even the Gen X girls generations. Maybe even the early millennials, that's a little bit of a stretch. But for younger women now, women in their 20s and stuff now, there is no societal pressure for women to be married. Not in the same way that it was before, where you're kind of an outcast if you're not married. And the reason why I'm saying that's a false narrative is because there's too much of a hookup culture now. Hookup culture. What she's referring to isn't that girls are taught from birth. You got to be. It's not that. That's not what we taught. I'm gonna tell you where that's coming from, though, because it's a whole narrative out there talking about marriage is a scam for women and women shouldn't get married and it's only benefit men and blah 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 blah. So there's a whole narrative out there. Feminism blew that out of the water. Let's be real, okay? But I'm gonna tell you where she got that from. I'm gonna tell you how she spent that, because the other thing that she said before I get to that was divorces were initiated 70% by women. She doesn't attribute it to women, a lot of these women just not being satisfied or suffering from the Tia Mowry syndrome, fear of missing out, suffering from, I just don't want, I'm not happy, I'm bored, I need to experience new things, so let me break my marriage up, let me break my family up, and all of that type of stuff. She doesn't say anything about the fickleness of these women and the women not taking the marriage seriously, or not regarding the marriage as a covenant. That's why they refer to it as a business and partnerships, because you can leave a business and a partnership. Once that business no longer serves you, no one will fault you for leaving it. Right? If you go into a business partnership with somebody and that partnership, that contract or whatever it is no longer serves you, no longer benefits you, then who would blame you for ending a business arrangement that you don't benefit from? Nobody would blame you for that. If you were in a business arrangement and you don't get paid anymore, or the profit margin went down too low, or whatever the case may be, or the workload was too high, or it was too much workload, but the reward, the payout, the return on investment was not good, no one would ever blame you for ending such a partnership. This is how they view marriages. That's why they say what they say. That's why they use the words that they use. Oh, I graduated from my marriage. Oh, it was no longer serving me. They literally say that. The marriage no longer served me. So therefore, I had to look out for me. I had to find what served me. And so therefore, that called for me to initiate these divorces. Okay. So now, on to the other things that she said. I'm going to tell you where she gets the wife mother thing. Because wife and mother, no matter how these women try to change that around or get rid of it, or how they try to cling on to the narratives of feminism, that is the metric for whether you were successful or valuable as a woman, not as a human. She tried to mix that your human value go down. No, it don't. Nobody's talking about your humanity. Nobody's referring to a woman's humanity. Even when I say what your value is as a wife, if you're not a good wife, if you're not wife material, if you're not good mom, good mother material, you're a hyena. I'm not casting any judgment on a person's humanity. That's not where we're assigning or taking away value. You're a human being. That we know. I'm not commenting on people's humanity. I'm commenting on the metric that measures your success in other areas out above your humanity. Wife and mother is the metric for women. She doesn't want there to be a metric to gauge whether or not a woman is successful at being a woman. The reason they don't want no metric, the reason they don't want no measuring stick is because they want to be able to say that we're successful no matter what. We're successful no matter whether we ever were able to get into a relationship or not. We're successful whether we were able to be good mothers or not. We're successful whether we were able to have a job or whether we were on welfare all of our lives. We were successful. They want to say that them being born and breathing is successful, and that should be the metric. No. Women have a metric. Just like men. They have no problem with the metric for men. None whatsoever. Men accept metrics. Men accept metrics. They accept measuring sticks in general. Now, the only men that don't like measuring sticks is men that don't measure up to the measuring stick. Those are the men that don't like them. Man, you can't tell me how to be a man. That's because you don't measure up to it. Whose fault is that? Metrics for men are pretty much encapsulated in their ability to do all four of these things to a reasonable level. Metrics for men, because it is tangible, it's easy to spot. Because it is tangible, it is easy to spot. So it's easy to name. Men that have provision. This is not just money. When we read this, it says he produces masculine light. That's the first providing that he does. Giving him the ability to look ahead and or prepare in advance, right? This goes right into his ability to problem solve. He generates stability, correct? In the form of his ideas, supplies, food, finances, clothing, housing, etc. This is his foresight, right? Number 2, his problem solving, right? When you read it, his ability to think in a linear and analytical fashion, to be able to dissect and resolve issues efficiently. His problem solving saves time, minimizes waste of energy, money, etc. He necessitates order out of confusion and chaos and brings a sense of peace. This is what he does. Right. Number 3, right? This is just in general. This is just in general. This is a general thing. Includes shielding from harm by confronting danger, but also in the form of his structure that he creates or provides that covers in his physical absence or in a hostile environment. This includes rules and guidelines he set. And finally, his ability to procreate, physical intimacy, ranging from affectionate touches and words to sexual intercourse, any and all expressions of love, care, and support, the creation and raising of his children with his values and the culture of his household, right? Why can we name it so easily? Because what men do is tangible 9 out of 10 times, right? What men do and what men provide and what men are capable of and all of that type of thing is a concrete, tangible set of things. It's a metric. Men that cannot do these things, men that fail in provision. He don't have good problem solving skills. He's not a good protector, not only because he can't fight and can't physically do it, but also his structure isn't very good. So he doesn't even have like good ability to make contingency plans to make sure the stuff don't be happening, so he don't have to go over and physically fight nobody or physically do nothing to nobody. And then his procreation is off. So he don't know how to love. He don't know how to show affection. All he know how to do is have sex. Right? So men have a metric. They are, and they do it between themselves. Has nothing to do with women. Men do it among themselves. They rank each other. Right? Oh, this dude do what he's supposed to do. He take care of his family, take care of his business, take care of his work. He take care of himself. You know what I'm saying? He productive. He go out here. He do what he's supposed to do. He masculine. He's a man. Men, okay, he's doing what he's supposed to do. Men will give other men respect just based on that. Men will lose respect for other men that have kids and that don't take care of them. I have heard men say that. I don't even respect the man that's got kids he don't take care of and he don't see. So you got access to the kids and you don't be taking care of them, man, get out of my face. See, they'll do that. They'll lose respect for a man that you don't, not only have you never held a job, you don't even hustle good. So you just don't do nothing. So nothing? How old are you? Right. They don't be respecting cowards. Because certain things are a metric for whether men can get respect and whether or not he's valuable to himself and to society or to his family or to his community or whatever. It's not his humanity that's being judged. It's his manhood that's being judged. Women don't like the metric. So she doesn't like that the metric for women is wifehood and motherhood. Why is that the metric? Why is that the metric? Because that's the part of the purpose of women. That's why that's the metric. It's the metric because it is rooted in the purpose. Our purpose as women is not to go out here and work and get the bag. Our purpose as women is not to go out here and be an entrepreneur. Our purpose as women is not to go out here and, you know what I'm saying, build the infrastructure. That's not our purpose. That's not our purpose. If we able to go and do that stuff, fine. Fine, if you can do that stuff. But that's not your purpose. Your purpose. The reason you taking up space and breathing air as a female is to be a helpmate to a man, somebody. It's billions of men in this world. Somebody. And if possible, bear children. This is why it's hard for lionesses that can't bear children. I speak for me. I'm not going to speak for nobody else. That was a tough one for me to swallow. I'm a lioness and a high one, a highly functional one at that in so many areas. And then I could never fulfill that function. Could not fulfill the function of motherhood, getting pregnant, having a child, bringing forth my husband's progeny. It does something to you as a female, and particularly as a lioness. I can hunt, I can do all of this other stuff, but I didn't bring no cubs to the pride. right? So that does something to a woman. There's a sense of incomplete. Wasn't able to do everything that a woman do. And I have had other women kind of look at me like, so you never birthed children? Like you never? Mm-mm. I mean, I've raised them, but that's not quite the same. I've participated in motherhood from the rearing standpoint, but I didn't get to do the pregnancy and the birth. So I can't even really speak on that because I've never personally had that experience. So it does something to you, especially when you're young in your baby making years, in your birth years. I'm past that now. But it's still, I think about it. I'm not tore up about it like I used to be years ago, but I think about it sometimes. I was never able to do. When I was young and married, I couldn't do it. Now I'm married again, but I'm older. So now there's no real chance for that. Right? So it's the metric. It's the metric for women. It is what it is. Whether you were able to fulfill it or not is your own thing. But the metric for women is wifehood and motherhood. And if you can't be a mother, please don't tell me you're unable to be somebody's wife. Because you're able to be somebody's wife. So she doesn't want the metric. I'm going to get a little bit more into my notes. It's going to be a little bit more of overtime. I don't know that it's going to be a part 3 because eventually I want to get around to Jeannie Mai. Not today. But we're going to talk about Jeannie Mai. Talk about spotting chameleons. But I want to get to somewhere else as well. So let me skip just a tad bit.
I'm getting married unless you give up this, and that. I didn't do that.
Wow.
I don't really like to tell people what to do. I like to see how people move on the same page and that this is what was going to happen. But I didn't feel super pressed to like pick a date, to be honest with you. There were a lot of things, like you said, contingencies that maybe I didn't vocalize. But I mean, the issues were there and I vocalized those. But I don't think I was clear, like, we're not getting married unless you give up this, and that. I didn't do that.
Wow.
I don't really like to tell people what to do. I like to see how people move on their own. You know what I'm saying?
Especially not no man.
Yeah.
You are the leader.
Here's my issue with that. I'm not going to take it off the screen. I'm not going to be long to comment there. This is bad communication, what she's talking about. I voiced the problem, but I never did say that we weren't getting married unless Here's the thing with that. You said yes to the engagement. That was the problem. You continue to be around him after realizing that you really did not want to be married to him, but you continue to be in a relationship. The part that y'all may have missed, it was said yesterday. I didn't go back over it today. This particular young lady right here was talking, and she had one child when they got engaged. She had the other child after the engagement, and knowing that she wasn't going to marry this man. She had the second child after. I need y'all to absorb that. She had the second. If you go back and watch this, you will hear her say that. when she talk about the moment that he proposed to her, right? She only had one son with him at that time, one child, and then had a second child afterwards, while realizing that they were not going to be married, and because she didn't want to be married to him. And she was saying that he was possibly just trying to save the situation by proposing to her, which may well have been the case. These was two hyenas that was dealing with each other, a female and a male hyena. This is what happens, right? A male, a hyena proposing to save a situation is like a female hyena having a baby to save one. Same difference, right? So she never outright said she wasn't going to do it, that there were contingencies. It was an ultimatum that she did not say. They don't know how to voice what they're talking about. Do you supposed to give an ultimatum? No. Are you supposed to sit down like an adult and voice these concerns? Yes. Do so without the threat. Do so without the ultimatum. Well, if you don't do this, then this ain't gonna happen. You don't even have to say all of that. Just say, hey, listen, these are my concerns. Doesn't seem like you're trying to address them. Do not give no man no ultimatum. They dressing it up as, oh, I ain't trying to tell no man what to do. Telling him and being straight up with him about how you don't want to get married and the reasons why you don't want to get married, that is not telling him what to do. That's telling him what your issues are in the relationship. That's not dictating to him what he should do about it. Because he either going to try to address it properly or he not. You really can't tell him what to do about it. The only person you can control is you. You can only control your responses and things of that nature. How you bring stuff to how you communicate this. So they don't know how to communicate problems without the ultimatum, without trying to threaten him. Well, we're not going to have a relationship, blah, 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 blah. Just say what it is. Hey, listen, you gamble. You got a gambling monkey on your back. It's an addiction. I can't take it. It's not good for us. It's not good for the children. This is not a good environment for us to have a relationship. I'm very uncomfortable. At blah, 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 whatever it is, and be just straight. Just be straight. Just be straight. And at the end of it, if you really not into this relationship, break up. These women do not like that. To be the one, pull the trigger. And after you state it, I can't be in this relationship any longer. But she continued to stick around. She wasn't no better than him.
Yeah, so I was trying to do the right thing and knowing that I already had my daughter and things like that. I was trying to let this man evolve into his own and find his own way without me sitting there like, nope, can't do that. You can't do that. The only things that to get money, I'm going to sit there and like shun them all. I didn't want to be that person. So I was just trusting and believing that God would present a newer, better opportunity that would take him in a new direction and help him find his purpose and his true calling. Because as much as he tried to convince me that it was that, I'm like, baby, gambling is not your calling, right? I don't care how many dope boys you're able to get out of prison because they were able to pay lawyers, this and that. Like, you're not, that purpose is not really in alignment with what it became one of the, like, you don't see it as worthy. You don't see it as good enough, but I'm helping people. I'm just like, it's gambling. I'm not with it. Like,
I get it.
So I had to, make that tough decision when I realized that he had more of a love for that addiction than he did for me and our union.
Now listen real close, because I'm gonna go into different parts of this. I'm letting her wrap that up. We're gonna wrap her up Listen. Listen. If he had gotten to a point, they always tell on themselves. If he had gotten to a point where he was buying you rings, he had gotten to a point where he was helping the guys in that were in prison to pay lawyers and do things of that nature. This was not backroom poker that he was playing. This was high stakes, high roller, like poker and gambling, where you win money, not a couple of $100. He wasn't losing the house. Now, why am I saying that? Because at first it was probably like, what is you doing? You know what I'm saying? You just run around here playing games and da, 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 da. I'm just saying cards. I don't know exactly what kind of gambling, but I'm just using the common sense. You either in a gambling house or you're doing like high stakes type of poker or whatever. There was money coming in there. Like he was getting licks. Now you obviously gonna lose because it's gambling, right? But you can win too. Sometimes you can win a big pot, depending on where you're playing, who you're playing, and where's this happening. They be having whole tournaments with that poker stuff. Like you can win a lot of money playing various gambling games and card games and stuff like that. That was one reason why she was hanging around. Because you don't hang around with 2 kids 7 years and he ain't contributing nothing. No, he was contributing. He went back to the street. And she knew that. Just what he was doing wasn't criminal. Far as we know, it wasn't criminal activity. Because gambling is not a crime. Right? But it was still chance, still not stable. That's not stable. Right? Before I go back to that, to her, I want y'all to hear what these women are saying. They're ignoring red flags. They're wasting time. They're wasting these men time just as much as they claim that the men was wasting their time. They're doing the same thing. And they are not communicating despite talking a lot. They're not being straight up. That's where the time wasting come in at. They blame it. What you're hearing is that they're blaming it on their youth, especially the one in the white jacket. She's going to blame being young. And they're blaming it on the men. It's all the men's fault. The men are finessers. The men are manipulative, right? Notice all of these men. They're horrible. They have bad leadership. They're very manipulative. These are very conniving men. These are very slick talking men, and things of that nature. But what do women look for in men nowadays? What do modern women look for in men? Because when you question women now, what they looking for in men, they never talk about values or the quality of these men's character. They never talk about that. They always talk about whether or not a man can provide a certain lifestyle and what kind of education and what kind of money and what kind of place they gonna live and da, 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 da. They don't talk about what is his values. Is he, they'll say throw out stuff like, he got to be God fearing. That's not really, that's just something to say to make it seem like you looking for depth of quality of this man. But really they're looking for this man to be able to make a certain amount of money and this, that, and the third. Right? Here's the other thing. Since they want to blame youth, let's talk about youth. Let's talk about women being young and dumb, as they call it. Let's talk about young and dumb. These women, since we live in a free sex society, a hookup culture society, they be trying to call themselves using the whole phase and saying, go out there and find yourself and learn yourself, and then you will know what's going on, and a man won't be able to pull the wool over your eyes and trick you and groom you and all this other type of stuff. This is why this conversation is going on now over social media about older men, younger women, and people talking about, the women are too young and they don't know what's going on, and they got the way to remedy that. The reason why they're having an issue is because the fathers are not in the girl's life, but not always because she doesn't know her dad. Not always because her dad wasn't raising her or taking care of her. The other aspect that people don't talk about. Let's talk about the aspect people don't talk about. Go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and contribute to the channel if you find it valuable. Let's talk about the other portion of men not being in their daughters' lives. It's not always about he wasn't there. It's not always about she don't know him. I'm going to tell you, it's because he's not invited into her decision making. He's not invited. Okay? People will say, oh, well, she's having these issues because her father wasn't there. No. He's not invited into her love life. He's not invited into any decision making that she is doing where it concerns men. Because innately, she understands that she cannot bring multiple men to her father because she's just screwing these men. There is no intent behind just screwing them. So there's no need to make anything formal by inviting these men to meet your father. Do we understand that? Innately, a daughter knows I cannot be bringing these little men around my father because I'm just screwing them. They're screwing me. There is no intent. And for as many men as I'm screwing, ain't no way I'm going to be able to bring these many men around my father, because I don't even want my father to know that I'm just screwing like this. I don't want my father to know I'm a whore. Because hookup culture, free sex, casual sex culture, just date around culture, you too young to get married in your 20s culture, find yourself, that usually entails jumping on a lot of men culture. I can't bring these men around my father. I don't even like him like that. He just D. This is just the dude that I want to come by and lick on me and F on me, and that's all we doing. You know, we smoke weed and drink. I cannot bring him to my father. For what? Bring him to my daddy for what? I'm a whore. And they may not ever say it. They may deny it to their dying day. I'm a whore. And you know who has encouraged them? They mama. And their mama could be married to their daddy. Do y'all understand what I'm talking about? Their mother would tell them, girl, just go out there, and do what you do and just make sure you don't get pregnant. And da 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 da. Her mother's telling her to be a whore. Her father is not promoting that. It be the mama that tell her that. And she go out there and do it. Now, the daddy not stupid. He knows she's not a virgin. He knows but he may not know exactly the extent to which she's whoring around. Now, by the time she meets a man, here's where the problem is. By the time this woman meets a man, late 20s, something like that she wants to introduce to her father only has a very vague idea about her choices and habits with men. So he cannot properly assess this situation, nor can he properly advise her. I'm going to say that again. Oh, I'm going to say it again. By the time this young woman, wants her father to meet a man that she is involved with, he only has a very, very vague idea about what her past choices have been and what her habits are concerning men. He don't know her sexual history. He doesn't know her romantic history. He doesn't know she has a penchant for toxic men. He doesn't know that she only deal with men that's been in jail. He doesn't know she only deal with me and that's baby daddy. He doesn't know this about her. He know she having sex, or he may have seen one or two little boyfriends or something like that, but he doesn't know she has hidden this from him. So he's not working with a full understanding of his daughter's habits when it comes to men. So when she bring this man around him, he can't take that knowledge into consideration as he advises her whether or not this is a good match for her, or assess the situation for her. Not only that, when she brings this man to her father, she's not asking permission to be with this man, which is what really should be happening. but she's no longer a maiden. So it's null and void. She been screwing around. So permission for what? You understand what I'm saying? When she bring this man to her father, she's not asking his permission. And his advice, his assessment of this man, his vetting of this man is taken as an opinion only, not to be seriously considered. Because if he pull his daughter to the side and say, you need to leave him pronto, if he pull his daughter to the side and say, you need to leave him pronto, this man is no good. Every red flag I could see in a man, I see in him. No. You know what she tell her father? I love him. Why? Why she can't take her father's advice? Because she been shacking up with him for 2-3 years. She been having sex with him. Their life is entwined. There's no marriage. So she can't take what her father said. She can't do what her father said. Her father can talk to this man, be around this man, come back to her with the verdict. No, this is not a good man. And I'm judging him on the metric of men. Because daddy ain't sleeping with him. Daddy not in love with him. You understand? That's why daddy's vetting is so important, because it's objective. He's going to look at him as a man, not I'm in love and this and that. And he don't feel nothing for this man. And he come back to his daughter and say, daughter, please don't. Please don't marry this man. You know what'll happen? Her mother will jump in. Let her do what she gonna do. She in love with him. Daddy, you just telling me I gotta leave? Yeah. He gonna break your heart. I already can see it. She don't do it. His advice is an opinion only. Means nothing. Doesn't weigh anything. His no, if he were to say no, means nothing. The marriage would go on anyway. The relationship will go on anyway. Y'all not prepared to take your father's advice. You're not prepared to take your father's vetting and take his decision. I took my daddy's decision. But I also wasn't shacking up with these guys. I also wasn't having sex with these men. I've turned down engagements and proposals. I sure have. Muslim proposals and engagements are different, though. It don't involve us dating and having sex and all this other stuff. It don't involve that. A Muslim man can propose to you within 24 hours. I've been proposed to on the spot, 5 minutes of talking. We're not doing this. Right? I have brought men to my father. What do you think about him, Dad? He said he want to marry me. He said, okay, my daddy talked to him. Come back. I mean, you grown, but I don't recommend it. And you know what? When my daddy said no, hey, you out of there, buddy. My daddy said no. You let your daddy tell you what to do, yeah? You don't even know. Low key, I can still get a whooping. Like, don't even play with me. Nope. And we can't still do nothing. My daddy said no. Know why? Because I know my daddy longer than I know you. I trust my daddy more than I trust you. I don't even know you. We've been talking like 2 days, a week. You've been coming with a hard push about us getting married. We got to go to the masjid. We got to do a nikah. Not before you talk to my daddy. You'll never sweet talk me. Not before you talk to my daddy. And sometimes the men, I don't talk to your daddy. Yeah, beware of a man don't want to talk to your daddy. Oh, you don't want to talk to my daddy? Oh, you definitely out. You definitely out. You don't talk to my daddy. What you mean you don't want to talk to my daddy? You thought you was grown. I am grown. But you finna talk to my daddy, though. Don't even play with me. You finna talk to my whole daddy. And the ones that was brave enough to come talk to my daddy, if my daddy was like, I don't like him. All my daddy had to say, I don't like him. Why you don't like him, daddy? Man, please. He ain't no man. He ain't no man. That one ain't no man. He ain't no man. He ain't nothing. He ain't nothing. He ain't about nothing. He ain't about nothing. I'm going to have to come see him. I already know that. I'm going to have to come see him. I don't even want that kind of smoke. My daddy talking about he going to come see somebody. That's not good. That's not a good turnout. We not doing that. Trust and believe, brother. I'm saving your life. Only you can prevent forest fires. I'm saving your life. My daddy said he would have to come see you. He mean that. No, we done. You ain't got. Don't call me no more. My daddy said no. When I was young, and my first husband came to talk to my daddy, and my daddy said, oh, okay, I kind of like him. That was a green light. We kept on talking. We can keep talking. My daddy said you was okay. My daddy said you was okay, so we can keep talking. Know what the difference was? He wasn't telling me no. You talk to your daddy. He was like, oh, okay, your father gave you the okay, gave me the okay. Okay, good. What? Okay. We was married within 14 days. And my father was okay with doing it because he knew that I would take what his verdict was. He knew I would take it. I wasn't just bringing men to him for no reason. So that's what the father not in his daughter's life. That's what that also means. She don't invite him to her decision making with men. And when he do come around, when she do come around with a man, her father's opinion, his vetting, his viewpoint as a man, as her father, as the man that has taken care of her, the man that want to see good for her, the man that has given her without taking from her anything. This is the man that you don't listen to. You listen to all these little slick talking Negroes in the street but you don't listen to the man that had give his whole life for you and don't ask you for nothing back. That's why my father's vetting was an answer, not a useless opinion that I could throw away. Because my daddy, I don't know these other men. I don't know y'all. I don't know what you gonna do. But my father would lay his whole life down without asking questions. He has sacrificed everything in his life for me. He don't ask me for nothing. He don't want nothing in return other than my love and respect as his daughter. I trust my father. I don't even know you. And you know, I like the way you're talking and everything. And I like the way you look and everything. You're all right with me. But you wasn't all right with him. Daddy was a man before he was daddy. That's what I understood. My father was a man. He was a man. Dealt with plenty of women. Matter of fact, my daddy was a street man. My daddy was not no straight-laced man. He knew other men. He knew what men wanted. And he had a good judge of character. And he knew women. He knew a man could slick talk a woman if she liked him. You was definitely coming in front of my daddy if I liked you a lot. If I liked you a lot and felt like maybe there's a chance you could be kind of low-key hoodwinking me, you definitely seeing my daddy. I got to put a filter between you and me, because if it's just you and me, I'm a sucker, baby. I'm gonna be all over it. My daddy don't have that. He don't like you. And that's what made his opinion valuable. I like you. Daddy don't like you. See, you can't, all the stuff you would say to me, you can't say that to my daddy. All that little sweet talking and slick talking and yeah, baby, all of that, you see, you can't say that to my daddy. You're going to have to talk straight to my daddy. And that's what's missing. A man. Because a man got to talk straight to another man. Even if he don't want to. And because y'all don't invite y'all fathers into y'all love life because y'all spent y'all 20s being hoes, that's how you get caught up. Then you want your daddy to meet and then pay for the wedding. Girl, if you don't knock that off, let me get to these super chats. Thank you again, Miss Beshua says, definitely her. I always have wanted to be a mother. Thank you, Chano. Said, could it be true that the typical Western women leave marriages because the conceptual framework isn't based on a rite of passage of some sort? That this could be true, which is why I was talking about the father and his involvement. It's got to be some. This is why women was not allowed to choose their own husband. You see how it turned out. You cannot let Miss Kitty choose husbands for you because she's not going to do it right. Thank you, Robert Cantrell. Say, I enjoy your content from time to time. Appreciate your perspective on topics. Keep it coming. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. And thank you so much, UFOs at Kendra Delivers. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much, sweetheart. Thank you so much, Randy, for your contribution as well. And thank you, Mark. Says CC hits a grand slam at the bottom of the ninth, and Rakisha hits the wall at full speed trying to catch the ball. Game over. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much for all of your contributions. Let me see. Oh, thank you, Quinn. So that reminds me of when a boy picked up a girl for a date. He had to come inside and meet the parents and talk for 10 to 15 minutes before he was allowed to take her out. The date could be canceled if the father didn't like him. Exactly. And just to give a shout out to those who hit the Cash App for me, my wonderful sis, Miss Lou Casely, hit the Cash App for me. PDKC ASN hit the Cash App for me, and I appreciate you so very much for all of your contributions and supports. I may come back with, you know what? I don't know. It might be pop up because I'll be having stuff to say. I'll be having a little stuff to say. I'll be having a little stuff to say. Y'all hit the link for Discord in the description box. The Discord has actually picked up with conversation, and I'm in there sometimes myself. And I think we can have some good discussions there. I may end up putting a password on my Discord, but hit the link. For now, it's no password needed. Go ahead and hit the link. It's in the description box. Scroll all the way down, and you will see Discord link. Go ahead and hit that link. Join the Discord. Go ahead. Yeah, I think I got a little plan for Discord. Anyways, thank you. Listen, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.